In this episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, Joe Rogan and his guest Mike Baker engage in a wide-ranging conversation covering a variety of topics, from the ongoing beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake to the use of AI in creating fake recordings. The conversation begins with a discussion about the ongoing beef between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, with both Rogan and Baker expressing their interest in the conflict. They delve into the allegations of Drake using ghostwriters and the escalation of the beef to a point where there was a shooting outside Drake's home. This leads to a broader conversation about the use of AI in creating fake recordings and the implications of this technology. Baker explains how AI can be used to create fake recordings of individuals saying things they never actually said, leading to potential identity theft and misinformation. They discuss the importance of verifying the authenticity of recordings in today's digital age and the prevalence of fake recordings and deepfake technology. The conversation then shifts to the importance of emotional intelligence and social intelligence, with Rogan and Baker emphasizing the value of empathy and kindness in today's society. They discuss the impact of upbringing and genetics on a person's traits and behavior, highlighting the role of parents in instilling values in their children. Rogan shares anecdotes about his own children and how they have developed unique personalities despite growing up in the same environment, emphasizing the role of genetics in shaping personalities. The discussion then turns to current cultural trends, with Rogan and Baker noting a rejection of the woke culture among younger generations. They talk about the indulgence of certain behaviors and identities, emphasizing the importance of setting boundaries and expectations for children. They also touch upon the prevalence of anxiety and trauma in today's society, with Rogan expressing skepticism towards the social value placed on these issues and the need for individuals to take responsibility for their own well-being. The conversation continues with a lighthearted discussion about crew cuts and flat tops, with Baker sharing a story about his son getting a buzz cut for the summer. They reflect on the simplicity and nostalgia of certain hairstyles and how they can symbolize a sense of confidence and independence. Baker talks about the importance of observing people's behavior and body language when trying to blend in or gather information, mentioning that mirroring the actions of the person you are trying to build a relationship with can help establish trust and rapport. The conversation then delves into the use of disguises in surveillance and counter-surveillance operations, with Baker explaining that disguises can be used to quickly change one's appearance and avoid detection. He shares a story about a guest on a podcast who later committed a serious crime while attempting to disguise himself with a wig, highlighting the challenges of modern surveillance technology and the difficulty of evading detection in today's high-tech world. The discussion touches on the use of masks in protests and the potential implications for privacy and civil liberties, with Baker noting that wearing masks can make it harder for individuals to be identified. He also addresses the coordination of protests by outside groups and activists, pointing out potential ties to organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah, and criticizing the media for not delving deeper into the motivations and funding sources behind these protests. Baker highlights the role of social media in spreading misinformation and shaping public opinion, mentioning how foreign governments take advantage of the chaos and division in the U.S. to push their own agendas. He emphasizes the need for individuals to be more critical of the information they consume and to be aware of the foreign influence at play. The conversation then shifts to the issue of indoctrination in universities, where students are often exposed to one-sided perspectives and radical ideologies, with Baker pointing out the lack of critical thinking and debate on campus. The conversation then shifts to the conflict between Israel and Hamas, with Baker explaining the dynamics between the two entities and the challenges of finding a sustainable solution for the region. He mentions the efforts to form an Arab states coalition to oversee security and rebuilding efforts in Gaza, emphasizing the need for a long-term strategy to address the underlying issues. Baker also touches on the role of Iran in supporting Hamas and other terrorist organizations in the region, highlighting Iran's objective of removing Israel and the impact of the recent attacks on efforts to normalize relations between Arab states and Israel. Regarding voter fraud and mail-in ballots, Baker expresses concern about the potential for fraud and the need to minimize opportunities for corruption in the voting process. He suggests that a return to traditional voting methods with proper protocols in place could help address these issues and ensure the integrity of the electoral system. Baker also discusses the possibility of Trump winning the election, but facing legal challenges that could potentially lead to his imprisonment, highlighting the divisive opinions on Trump's legal troubles and the political motivations behind these legal battles. The conversation then shifts to a hypothetical scenario where Joe Biden undergoes a remarkable transformation in 2027, becoming sharper and more focused due to stem cell treatments and hyperbaric chamber sessions, with Baker speculating about the potential implications of such a transformation. The discussion delves into the dynamics of political rivalries and the power dynamics at play in such scenarios, highlighting the dangers of using political power to prosecute opponents and emphasizing the importance of open discussions and debates on critical issues. The conversation takes a turn towards the state of the younger generation, with Baker acknowledging concerns about the youth's understanding of certain issues, but also recognizing the potential of many bright and capable individuals among them. The conversation shifts to technological advancements in the defense sector, with Baker mentioning DARPA's development of an AI and machine learning-powered autonomous fighter jet that has successfully outperformed human pilots in dogfight scenarios, showcasing the potential of AI in military applications. They also touch upon the sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, and the possibility of advanced technology being developed by foreign powers, with Baker speculating about the potential implications for national security. The conversation continues with a discussion on the secrecy surrounding breakthrough technologies and the challenges of keeping such advancements hidden for an extended period, with Baker expressing skepticism about the long-term concealment of groundbreaking technologies and highlighting the constant efforts of nations to stay ahead in technological developments. They also discuss the influence of social media platforms like TikTok, with Baker expressing concerns about the potential for disinformation campaigns and data harvesting by foreign entities. Rogan and Baker also talk about the tribalism and polarization in politics, where individuals align themselves with extreme ideologies and view their side as the savior of the country. They discuss the influence of big personalities in politics and the dangers of AI taking over decision-making processes, especially in areas like nuclear weapons systems. The conversation ends on a lighter note, with Rogan mentioning the release of Top Gun 2 and expressing his enjoyment of the first movie, briefly touching upon the entertainment industry and the impact of popular culture on society.